In this episode of Ricky remembers some of the very first Japanese restaurants in Manila and the Philippines. Before I start today's episode, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Winston Abuyuan. Mr. Winston Abuyuan pointed out in the Ricky Remembers Facebook page that the very first Japanese restaurant in Baguio was in that hotel that I mentioned a few episodes ago, the Hyatt Terraces hotel in Baguio. Had the first Japanese restaurant in Baguio called Hanazono. Hanazono. So shout out to Mr. Winston Abuyuan. Thank you, sir, for that information. The very first Japanese restaurant in Baguio was Hanazono in the Hyatt Terraces hotel. So thank you for that information, sir. I did not know that. And he also mentioned that that elevator was also first in Manila Ramada Hotel rather than the Hyatt Terraces or the Hyatt Terraces Hotel in Baguio. So there was a first one that kind of an elevator where you could see it going up and down was in Manila Ramada Hotel, apparently. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Winston Abuyuan, for that information. That's what Ricky Remembers is all about. Of course, these are all my personal experiences. If you have your own memories that you would like to share to the audience, please go ahead and tell me, and I'll feature it in the show. So because of that comment, I remembered the very first Japanese restaurants growing up in Manila and in the Philippines. And I'm here again in the Asian Plaza, here in the corner of Alton and Jamboree, here in the city of Irvine. So there's a lot of Japanese restaurants and Asian restaurants here. I'm actually in front of H Mart, which is an Asian supermarket here in Irvine. My very first experiences of Japanese restaurants in Manila was, the very first one was in Miyako. Miyako in Quezon Avenue in Quezon City. I remember I went, ito na naman, of course, my cousins, Manong Boji Ignacio, Manong Bingboy Ignacio, Manong Miko Magsaysay, and Bombet Ignacio, and to my Tito Bong Ignacio also, and Tita Ditas Ignacio. We would go to Miyako restaurant in Quezon Avenue, and that was where I first tasted shrimp tempura, and we got so addicted to that. And it was our favorite for the longest time, shrimp tempura in Miyako. And then after that, when we got a little older, of course, Saisaki happened. So there was Miyako, and then there was Saisaki along EDSA. In fact, I remember when everybody graduated from school back then, whether it's elementary or high school, everybody flocked to Saisaki to celebrate their graduation. So Saisaki, as we know it, was known for their eat-all-you-can buffet. So that was where we had our first taste of sushi, sashimi, and also, again, tempura, of course, was there. Oh, I completely forgot. So while there was Saisaki in EDSA, there was Tampopo restaurant in Green Hills. So my friends from LaSalle and Poveda, you know this very well. Tampopo in Vera Mall in Green Hills. So yeah, that was also one of my first experiences of Japanese food in Manila, in Tampopo. In fact, I distinctly remember that's where I first had my taste of sushi and wasabi. My Tito Bobby Baizas. Hi to Tito Bobby. He was the very first person who brought me to Tampopo in Green Hills, and I had my first taste of sushi and wasabi. It was very strong. I remember it was a little too strong for my taste or for my palate back then when I was younger. But of course, eventually I developed a liking for it. So Miyako, Saisaki, and then Tampopo. And then as I got older, when I got to high school and college, there was Kamirori in Katipunan. So Kamirori was right across Miriam or Marinol, or very near Ateneo, and I was in high school and college. So we would go there for lunch or dinner. That's where my favorite became the katsudon in Kamirori. And of course, their very famous ice cream crepe. That's where I first tasted that very delicious dessert. Ice cream crepe from Kamirori. So my friends and my classmates and people who live in Katipunan near Kamirori would know that very well. The ice cream crepe in Kamirori and the katsudon. Oh my god, even now I'm craving for it. There's still Kamirori there in Katipunan. When I was in the Philippines a couple of months ago, there was still Kamirori there. So yeah, that was our go-to Japanese restaurant also back in the day. And then as again, when we graduated from college already, a friend of ours, Johan Albano, or Jogs as we fondly call him, introduced us to Kiko Fuji in Makati. So Kiko Fuji is more of an izakaya, or like a grill place in Makati. So we would go there for their butabara, which was really good. It's like meat or pork or beef in barbecue sticks, and it was so good. It's the best. So and that became sort of our hangout. Our friends would always go there for the food, for the Japanese fare, and also for the Japanese beer. So there you have it. Miyako in Quezon Avenue, Saisaki in EDSA, Tampopo in Green Hills, and Kiko Fuji in Makati. So I sort of covered the spectrum of Metro Manila in the evolution and the progress of Japanese restaurants in the Philippines. If you have, of course, these are my personal experiences and my personal memories. If you have your own to share, please go ahead, mention it in the comments, share it with us, and then I'll feature it also in the next episode, just like Mr. Winston Abuyuan. So there you have it for today's episode of Ricky Remembers. This is Ricky remembering his experiences of Japanese restaurants in the Philippines. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell as well, so that if there are any videos, you'll know it right away. But this has been Ricky Remembers, where I do upload one video, or at least one video daily. Watch out for the next one, and thank you for tuning in.